Let's start off with yes. Fallout 76 is a hot mess, and by no means is it ever going to be game of the year or even above average at this point. I'll save that for a review video, fingers crossed if that happens. But some people are still having fun with games, some people are 200% done with Bethesda's bullshit, wanting to fix, rightfully so by the way, that a lot of this stuff is stuff from Fallout 4 that's wrong with the game that was never patched. And this video here is just to help any new folks still playing, as I've seen a few still when I'm playing around, and any folks that come in when hopefully a bunch of it is fixed and if they don't drop it. At this point, people have made the choice of whether or not they want to play the game or don't want to play the game. Pretty much, like, my analogy here is going to be the Sharknado movies that are objectively bad movies, but people still enjoy them. So here's some tips from Fallout 76, some of which may be regurgitated in other videos around. Keep in mind this is what I've learned through my playtime, and by no means am I an expert. I don't do things like extensive testing of all that. I don't have time for that shit. Next up is going to be your special stats. At this point, there is no respec system in place. The current plan they have to implement one is going to be that after you hit level 50, where you can no longer earn special points, you get to pick between either moving a special point or perk card, which is a band-aid fix really to the respec problem, because honestly, picking a perk card is more beneficial than trying to move the points, in my opinion, unless you really messed up your build. So the sooner you figure out what build you are going to use, the better. Whether or not you want to use pistols primarily, you want to use rifles, shotguns, melee. Try to figure that out as soon as you can, because then that's going to help you decide where to put your points early on and hopefully achieve your build a lot sooner. And then again, after that 50 is more or less trying to get more cards to complement other builds you want to go for to have fun. If you need to, there are several sites that have builders on them that you can try and plan out. Just another heads up, pretty much anything works in the game for the most part, and so just pick something you want to go with and go with that. My only recommendation is that for points, put some in Charisma up to 4 or 5 to at least get Lone Wanderer for solo play, and if you play with friends you could also swap it out for other perks. You may also want to put a few points into Strength in general for the weight capacity increase, and also to get a few weight reduction perks. They have some really helpful ones like a reduction of chems and junk, some of which you'll probably be carrying on your person at some point in time. Keep in mind, for people that want to use rifles, there are no perks to reduce the weight of rifles, so a fully kitted out rifle is going to be between 15 to 20 pounds roughly. Don't forget about favoriting weapons and aid items. This allows you to access them via the wheel. It's up on the D-pad for the Xbox. I'm not sure if it's the same on the PlayStation or what it is for PC. But this allows quick access during fights instead of trying to retreat to temporary cover to pull up a menu and try and swap gear or get to an aid item. Say if you got a disease or a massive amount of radiation, favorite that throws it on your wheel. Now you can pull it up if you need to in the middle of a fight, if you're fighting something that's giving you a lot of rad damage. With vendors, they're divided into factions, and with the ones in the same faction, they share the same cap storage. For instance, all the vendors that are in White Springs share the same cap storage there. So if you walk up to one and you sell a bunch of your stuff and they have 10 caps left, and you go to another trying to sell some more stuff, they're still only going to have 10 caps left. Pretty much the other ones that are majority linked that you'll run into are look for the names of them and also what they're wearing. Some of them will have the Responder's emblem on them. For instance, of course, the Responders are all shared and the Raider vendors are all shared. There's also a couple other ones that are single. I won't name them if you care about spoilers in the slides, not that it should matter at this point. Also try to remember that the 200 caps doesn't go past that. So if you're looking to buy something, try to see if you can sell some stuff off beforehand, just to get some caps, and so that it's not instantly like caps that you could have got that were sat on. And another frustrating thing to try and keep fractive, yeah, that's a word. There's no current way to tell if you know plans until you buy it / find it and then go to try and learn it. You could try to carry all those, but those have weight to them. They're only like a quarter of a pound, but that eventually will add up. So try to remember what you have and what you don't, so you don't end up wasting caps on it, even though it's really hard to do so, because again, you either got to carry the plans on you that you know to try and make sure you don't get duplicates, and then there's still the chance that you'll find ones that if you're not carrying plans on you, you'll buy a duplicate. Trust me, I've wasted like 2,000 caps easy on plans I've already known. The stash sync. The first thing you should do when you enter a server is to sync your stash. You may notice at certain points, depending on where you left off, if you didn't like leave at your camp, say you were in the middle of something, you had to jump off, You may notice that you don't have, when you're at a workbench or workshop, it says you got no materials when you know damn well you got like 300 steel in your stash somewhere that's weighing everything down. That is fixed by simply finding a stash box the moment you get in and wait for everything to load in. Sometimes it'll be showing the refresh symbol. Sometimes it says everything's there, but you can't transfer yet. Wait until you can transfer, and then that's when your stash is synced, so you don't have to worry about that. Another sucky limitation besides the stash limit is the camp limit. Depending on what you are going for, that budget is going to be a pain in the ass. Turrets are very, very expensive, and any items stored in the store tab count towards your budget as well if you end up having to move your camp around. Your biggest concern is pretty much going to be how well defended you want your camp in exchange for how cool you want your camp to look. It's another thing, pretty much. It helps and it doesn't help. When you rank up, I believe I've heard different things. Nothing is ever straightforward in this game currently for information gathering. It's every 5 or 10 levels. I've heard both at this point. Things are cheaper for your budget, so that eventually translates to you can build more things in your camp. But again, I've heard both for 5 to 10. Next up is repairing. No matter if it is 99% or 0%, the cost of fixing is the same. So try to get the most out of your weapon and armor before fixes and plan ahead. If you're going on some grand adventure of exploring or a quest that could possibly be quite lengthy and durability is around half, then you may want to repair it before so it doesn't break in the middle of a gunfight and you're either left without A, a weapon, or B, a piece of armor, and you're getting chunked. Generally, your left side of your armor gets hit a lot. Speaking of durability, pay attention to what you're putting on weapons and armor. Certain attachments will make the ability bar larger or smaller. That's pretty much, I think armor is always going to take a hit to its durability. The more you put on it, for more resistances. And weapons, it varies. What I found for most, especially stocks, is if stock increases bashing, it's generally going to increase the durability. So it depends on how much you compensate for a recoil. I'm also going to talk about this now. Scrapper is bad. Don't bother with it until it gets a buff. It's only steel and wood it gives extra of, not the important shit that you would like. I'm not even giving it screen time. I'm just having the durability screen capture that I have up still. Also make sure to actually scrap your junk before throwing it in storage. And also certain junk like the Deathclaw hand will not be dismantled when you do the mass destruction of junk, requiring you to actually go find it and manually destroy it. Unless you want to take the weight penalty there. Mods are also thrown in your stash when you do a mass junk storage, and those on average are about £1 a piece, which will lead to micromanaging. The more you play 76, the more you're going to have to eventually micromanage your inventory and perks. Especially towards the mid to late game, you're going to have to do that a lot. Taking a look at my perks right here, you see that I have lockpicking under perception. Those are left there mostly out of pure laziness. Generally, I would swap that out for Rifleman rank 3, just so I'm doing more damage with rifles to go through ammo and all that I generally accumulate while trying to get my melee build together. And, you get swap in and out of those whenever there is lockpicking to do. The other big one you're going to be messing with is going to be your stash. They just recently upped it to 600, but that's honestly going to fill up real quick. Depending on what you're storing in there, considering the weight reduction does not kick in for that. As you can see with some numbers I have for some of my items on the screen, I try to keep numbers between 100 to 150 for junk. There are some exceptions, such as for myself is lead, steel, screws, and springs, since I use those for crafting ammo and weapons. And on a serious note, I will suck a Scorch Beast off at ground zero for a few hundred screws. The last thing I'm going to go over, because that should put me right at that 10-minute mark, is going to be workshops. Try to take one for yourself every session. If you get kicked from a server, you're going to lose the workshop. They have multiple purposes. They can be used to farm resources that they have at their location, like lead or nuclear waste, if that location has it. They can use to be farm events, which is what I primarily use them for, to get free items, and generally they'll drop plans, which is the thing I'm looking for most. But most importantly, they are free fast travel points. You can hold more than one, but then you best count your blessings with RNGesus on when you got to defend one, because if it's anything like mine, it'll always be when you're in the middle of something, over encumbered, or you'll probably have to defend more than one at the same time. If you're playing in the group, only the owner can fast travel to the workshop. So try to have the guy that's on top of fast traveling be the guy that grabs it, just so they can get over there fast ahead of everyone else, so everyone else can fast travel to them. Other players can also take workshops, which will activate PvP. The turrets will target them and everything. In general, unless it's a power plant or the ammo factory, I think in my experience, most players will not bother trying to take one if it's already been taken. That'll do it for the tips video. That's of course not everything that's in Fallout. This is again stuff that I've experienced and stuff I want to try and share for other people. So like, comment, subscribe, all the fun YouTube stuff. There's like a bell icon and everything. And as always, you're welcome to come back over to Gaming House for more gameplay and commentary.